First of all, I mean, as we know, the World Health Organization just to declare this a global health emergency. For Americans who are watching this, how serious is this? What's keeping you up at night?
That this is an evolving situation. Literally every day we learn a little bit more about it. That you can actually have transmission from one to another. The transmission from person to person to person, that's called sustained transmission. When that happens, the situation becomes a bit more serious.
Do we know how virulent this is, or is this a very deadly respiratory virus?
A quarter of the world's population is now living under some form of lockdown due to coronavirus. More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home. There are now more than 450,000 recorded cases of the virus globally.
But we know that testing is not readily available in many places, so that number is likely to be much higher. So let's take a look at the situation across Big Wave.
This is Madrid's biggest ice rink. It's been requisitioned to hold the dead. They need it. There are so many of them.
One and a half million face masks, 500,000 respirators, 500,000 fast emergency testing kits, hundreds of ventilators.
So that number is likely to be much higher.
That's called sustained transmission. When that happens, the situation becomes a bit more serious.
So let's take a look at the situation across Big Wave.
At a time when gatherings of more than 2 people are still banned, today's demonstrations were clearly a direct challenge to those rules.
This is one of a number of protests across the country, but this one is by far the largest.
The protest happened as the government's coming under pressure to relax the rules on demonstrations after 60 MPs signed a letter to the Home Secretary, coordinated by the campaign group Liberty.
This is Madrid's biggest ice rink. It's been requisitioned to hold the dead. They need it. There are so many of them.
Threatening to overwhelm the country's health systems, leaving people fighting for hospital beds, oxygen and medicines.
Nationwide, there have been 1,761 deaths in the last 24 hours. That is the highest death toll in a single day so far.
It's the breakdown. Release that. Release that. Hey, how's it going? It's your favorite lovely host, Key, and you are watching Primatif. If you're just joining us, thank you for being on this journey. And today we're going to jump back into the comic panel application and continue where we left off. So give me just one moment to finish setting up and we'll get started. And enjoy the music. By the way, this is original music composed by yours truly. Stay tuned. Be right back. Okay, let's do it. Let's get busy. As I mentioned, we're going to be jumping back in for another session working on the comic panel app. And I'm your lovely host, Key Clark, the founder of Primatif, which is a consulting company for software engineering. I focus on creative software applications, full stack development, cloud engineering, analytics, AI, all that fun stuff. Pretty much everything you're going to see me do in this project and in my prior streams, that's the stuff that I love to do. So I guess that's just a really easy way to do some self-promotion here. If you're interested in learning more about what I do and possibly working with me, all you need to do is just go ahead and check out the official website, which is primatif.com. And on this website, you can learn more about what my business does, and you can also schedule time with me if you're looking for a consultant, a coach, tutor, or just want to chit chat about some cool, fun coding and software engineering stuff. I'm always down to chit chat. You can also go ahead and leave me a comment in the video down below. And while you're at it, go ahead and like and follow the channel as well. That will help out immensely. But I know what you came to do, and I know what I came to do, so let's go ahead and get into some coding. We don't have to tarry too long. Okay, so where did we leave off last time? So the whole point of this current phase of the project is that we are trying to rebuild an application that was previously created. And let's just take a few moments to go back and to take a look at what that application looks like. So this is like the quick and simple version of this application. It's not fully running. This is like really just like a screenshot, but this is a comic book making application. And the idea here is that a person can essentially create the layouts for the panels for one or more pages, and then export those as PDFs or PNGs to print out so they can draw their comics. Or if you'd like to, you can also load those files into your favorite visual software like Photoshop, Procreate, whatever it is you like to use. So this is really meant to be just a quick and simple tool for helping to make comics faster. The goal is, however, to rebuild this using faster technologies that are more performant and better at rendering more quickly, and also handling more complex data, so that we can eventually grow this application to include other features like the ability to draw on a canvas, the ability to add assets into the panels, to basically help artists create layouts and thumbnails and very quick composition so they can get on with the actual drawing part of the comics. So this application is originally created fully with Node. I used React for the front end, Express for the back end, TypeScript instead of JavaScript, and in the new rebuilds of this application, I'm going to be still using TypeScript for the front end, but I'll be using SolidJS instead of React. And then for the back end, I'm going to be using Rust. And all of this is really being facilitated by a new framework and tool that I'm introducing called Tauri. So Tauri is this tool right here. This is a cross-platform framework for making applications where the Tauri framework is Rust, the backend server is Rust, and then it is agnostic as far as the front end. I'm not 1,000% sure that I want to stick with SolidJS as the end-all be-all. There is actually another framework called Dioxys. This is a full stack cross-platform framework that allows you to use Rust for everything instead of JavaScript, TypeScript for the front end. This is a potential replacement for the front end in the future. But for now, just for the sake of building something and getting it to my users as quickly as possible, and also using technologies that I'm somewhat familiar with, we're going to stick with Tauri. However, the caveat is that we're going to focus on a type of architecture that allows for the front end to be replaced by something more performant if and when we get there. So hopefully that makes sense. But as a software engineer, you're always trying to think about the way you're building something and what that will either enable or what that could potentially inhibit. There's always pros and cons to any direction. So I'm doing this knowing that Dioxys or perhaps something else might be better for the actual performance, but I'm not going to quite get to it yet. And the reason why I'm not going to jump into Dioxys is because as you can see here, these are like unstyled components that come with it. And after doing a little bit of research, the availability of interface toolkits out there for just pure Rust development is not as great. And this project is going to be very intense when it comes to using a canvas to render graphics and stuff. And I think I can get by with using what's available. However, the challenge is going to be that I might have to make a lot of custom implementations with Dioxys versus just being able to use like all the cool stuff that's available for JavaScript, just kind of based on the community of people who've been working with that for a long time. So this is like, in the back of my mind, as potential stuff that I could be using in the future, but I'm going to be preparing how I work so that this can be available as an option if I decide at some point in the future that this is just a better direction. So yeah, and that's kind of like why it pays to do an actual design session before you jump into coding, and to weigh the pros and the cons and all that kind of stuff. Those are the things that make a person into more of that intermediate or senior software engineer, not just being able to make things. Okay, so here's our project. While I was away, I didn't really change much. The only thing that I did off stream was I introduced a new architecture standard. And that standard is kind of what I just mentioned, decoupling the front end and the back end, making a dumb front end, and then just preferring to use the back end for calculating things and feature logic and all that kind of stuff. And that's what's going to help us to have a modular decoupled architecture. So I did that, and then I updated the project scope to reflect that intention. And then obviously I also updated the current sprint items to reflect that as well. And so now that we have done that, I think it's safe to say that we can go ahead and get started. With our application. Yeah, I think we did everything we needed to do in the last session to set up so that we can just jump into some coding now. So we're only going to focus on one of these tasks at a time so we don't get ahead of ourselves, and we're going to try to stick to a pretty organized approach. So yeah, let's go ahead and preview this document and read through what we're about to do. Okay, so the sprint goal is to implement a basic Tauri application that demonstrates the core architectural principles, responsive UI, authoritative backend, and establishes a functional CI/CD pipeline for development and main branches. So what this is saying here is that the idea is that we want to actually get to the point where we can do a release and a deploy, not a deployment, because this is not SaaS, this is actually a on-device application. But we want to get to the point where we can actually have automations that will run all the tests, very simple linting and quality control stuff. And then when it comes to the main branch, be able to do an actual build and create an artifact that at some point in the future can be used to make the application available to my users through some type of distribution, which is yet to be figured out. So that is the goal here. I'm not going to be focusing on getting any of the comic type features quite yet, but I'm basically setting up a foundation so that as I build the application, I don't have to double back and figure out, release, build, deployment stuff. It's already there, and all I have to do is kind of modify it. And the theory here is that by setting those things up early, then I'm sort of removing the potential complexity of doing it once there's like all this stuff going on with the app, once I start working across the stack and everything. That could get really, really messy. And it's also really difficult to kind of like reverse engineer that stuff to work with deployment. So just do your whole deployment and everything like that with a simple, with a very simple placeholder app. And then as you go, you can update your release and automations and all that kind of stuff to work with whatever your latest version is. And then with this, we're going to make sure that we can also run the elements of the CI/CD pipeline locally so that we don't have to use up so much of our compute time just from testing and debugging. Okay, so we want to essentially just ensure as much as possible that by the time we start running these pipelines on GitHub, that we have a strategy for confirming that they're what we're expecting locally to the best of our ability, and then we should have fewer problems, and it should also be less expensive as our app scales. Okay, so core architecture implementation. So the back end, the view agnostic API, which is what Tauri is doing for us. Our initial placeholder app is going to be very basic. Let's actually go ahead and open up our lovely friend Freeform. And we're going to just like make a quick diagram to kind of express what we're attempting to do. Placeholder app for Primatif Comics. Okay, so our basic app, excuse me. So let's pretend that this is like a full screen, and let's go ahead and give that no fill and give it a black outline. So the idea is that in our app, we're going to have just a simple text like this somewhere in the middle. And this text is going to come from our database, because for this for this initial sprint, the main goal is to set up the basic infrastructure. So we will have a server in Rust. Yeah. And let's make that yellow. So the server in Rust is going to be providing us the actual text that we're going to see on the DOM. And it doesn't matter what that text is, honestly. I'll probably just use a quote. I'm a Swami Vivekananda type person, so that will likely be the quote that I use. The important part here is that we have a database. And in this case, our database is going to be SQLite. Oops. SQLite. Okay. And let's go ahead and get our line here. So very simple. And then what's going to happen with this application is that Tauri is going to be able to take this this stack that we've created, and it is going to basically package all this together so that it has a single executable file and is also grouped together as far as its process and everything like that too. Okay, so Tauri is going to be basically the thing responsible for making our app packaged. Let's do this. Okay. Give me just a minute to fix this up a little bit. You know, I'm very picky about the way my little graphics here look. I like to share these, so I always spend like a little extra time if I can to make these look nice. Let's go ahead and lock this so it doesn't move around. And we'll just connect this like that. That's good enough. And this will be 36. And I think I mentioned this last time, but our front end is going to be SolidJS. I chose SolidJS specifically for its, you know, its relative performance boost over React. So with React, the way that it works is it has a virtual DOM that it is constantly comparing to. It's constantly comparing to the real DOM in order to figure out like like updates and stuff. And so with my approach, I actually don't need or want that virtual DOM. It will only make things slower. So SolidJS is just a more direct way to have reactivity to update the UI. And for an app where I'm going to be rendering a lot of detail for the user, I just don't want to risk having an app that's like really, really slow. And I know that there will probably be some type of performance bottleneck that will occur at some point. And I'm going to have to make really smart decisions about how to avoid that, you know. But we'll just use SolidJS in order to help us, at least at this early phase. And we'll just handle the rest, you know, as we get to it. So, okay, so this is just like a simple idea of the app that we're making here. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully this makes sense. And the app is literally, like I said, just going to be just some text on the DOM. Yeah, and we'll go back and change all that stuff later on. Okay, so I'm going to use Gemini for this. And, oh, we got to finish reading this. Give me one more second. Okay, so real time, create simple draggable UI element within a SolidJS front end. Yeah, I want this text to be draggable. Let's just put that in here. Draggable. Element's position must be updated in real time using a local SolidJS signal. And signals are like the application state, basically. So kind of similar to how like Redux works. Authoritative loop on drag completion. The final position must be sent to dedicated Tauri command. So what this basically means here is that I am going to make the front end as dumb as possible. I don't need the front end to be responsible for performing calculations or anything like that, or at least remembering them. I want since this is going to be an app where the back end is coupled on the user's computer with the front end and it's all running at the same time, I'm actually going to be taking things that happen on the DOM and then processing them in the server with Rust, which is going to be a lot faster. And all the front end has to do is just render. Now I'm not quite using server-side rendering, but there's a lot of server-side stuff happening that you probably wouldn't want to do in a SaaS application because it could be really expensive. Okay, so responsive UI pattern, cool. So for project scaffolding, which is what we're mostly doing for the actual app, we're making a new Tauri app in this repo. And then we're going to select the correct template, of course. We're using TS. Basic Tauri application runs and compiles successfully, confirming the cross-platform desktop framework is operational. Yes. We need this bundle identifier. This is going to allow us to do like updates and stuff like that in the future. I think Tauri has a built-in tool for updates. I'm not going to worry about that so much right now, but that's going to be a thing we're going to have to worry about later on, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so basic project structure for front end and back end. I'm kind of wondering if setting up automatic I don't know if automatic updates is the right word or whatever, but setting up the ability to do updates is something I want to do early, but I don't need to do it exactly right now. But it does need to be something that I do in the future. So let me go ahead and set a new, let me just use Gemini to create a new thing for our backlog that will be about setting up automatic updates or something like that. Okay. A new backlog item to set up the application so that I can do So I'm not sure how this is going to work on this app, but I know I need to do it. So I'm going to have it just review my project scope and my current sprint, and maybe it can get some ideas about how an updating strategy might work in this context. Configuring the updater and ensuring the CI/CD pipeline produces the necessary artifacts. Okay. Okay. It seems like I'm going to need a whole server for this. But like I said, this is just going to be a backlog item for now. I don't need to solve this problem today. Okay, looks like it tried to mark that as complete. I will mark this task as complete. I don't know what that means because ain't nothing complete here. I don't know. Okay. Let me just double check this real quick. Make sure I didn't do anything weird. Okay. Okay, cool. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and do a commit for that. It probably seems like it's taking forever to get into the building part. Let me just assure you that not only is it not taking forever, this is like actually extremely fast. If you were working at a software engineering firm or worked in a technology organization for a business, you'd be spending a ton of time designing and planning your application because it is actually a huge there's a lot of consequences and there's a huge risk to making application if you make it without having some type of like design or architecture in mind for the future. I mean, hopefully for the long term, but at least for like the medium or short term. And ideally with scalability, maintainability, and performance in mind. So that's why I'm spending all this time like really luxuriating in this part of the process. I don't want to glaze over anything that I could regret in the future, because that could potentially mean a lot of wasted time. It doesn't need to be perfect, because I know that I'm going to do probably another rebuild of this app at some point, maybe another 6 to 9 months, when I decide to do this all in Rust. Don't be afraid to rebuild your apps, by the way. Okay, so set up basic project structure or front end and back end as per the scope guidelines. A modular and layered architecture. Okay. This all sounds good. A lot of these standards are in my Gemini context anyways, so I'm not too worried about that. Database, Rust, SQLite, SQLite. Okay, yes. Okay, and then it'll be draggable, so we want to make sure the UI is capturing the changes or the changes in the location of this element and recording that in the database so that it appears when the page is reloaded. I don't know exactly what this part here means, so let's just ask a quick question about that. It is sometimes painful to spend time doing this sort of like more boring stuff like reading and documentation, but it is responsible. When your JavaScript code calls a Rust function using invoke, the operation on the back end might succeed or it might fail. Your front end needs a reliable way to know which outcome occurred and to get the relevant data for each case. It needs the actual data it requested, user profile, a list of items. On failure, it needs structured information about the error so it can show a helpful message to the user or log details for debugging. A serializable result. Okay. Okay, so just basically how do we get these messages? Because what's going to happen is our front end is going to, instead of making a API call with like fetch or something, I think what we're going to be doing is using a bridge, some type of bridge or tool that allows us to communicate directly with Tauri through JavaScript, and potentially the server part as well, that same way. So in this situation, we need to be able to deserialize any sort of error messages that are generated by Tauri. So I think that's what it's saying here. Okay, this sounds good. I think something to add to current.md is that I want to set up some basic logging in the spirit of what was mentioned in the project scope. So can you make sure that is part of the current.md? Can focus on debugging type messages when the element is moved and updated in the DOM, and we can do some regular info messages around the server spinning up and whatnot. We just need a simple way to initially test our logging system before introducing more complicated. So I guess the theme here for me is that I know that there's like all these different systems and whatever that have to integrate and work together. I just don't want to wait until my application gets big before I start to put those pieces together. I want to have very simple implementations of things that are going to be important so that I can just essentially grow them. So I'm planting seeds right now at this phase of the work. Okay, while that does its thing, we'll read this. So create SolidJS components that utilizes Vite for development. I think this is good. Simple div invoked to call the Rust Tauri command to retrieve message from database. Cool. Display the retrieve message dynamically with Cobalt. Okay, so Cobalt is our UI framework. Okay, and then on mouse up, that's when things will be saved on the server. At some point in the future as well, we're going to have the ability for users to undo what they did. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that needs to be an early thing that is figured out in respect to the actual active canvas. And I'm thinking that that should be a backlog item because I think that needs to be set up just not right now, but very early. So I'm going to have it add another backlog item for that so I don't forget. Before we move into making all the canvas and layout features, we need to make sure that we design the basic canvas so that it has some sort of state that allows for us to undo and redo changes. I think this should be handled in the backend since that's where our logic is. Can you come up with the best practices based strategy for this and make a basic backlog item? We'll worry about the details and stuff later on. So configure the workflow to trigger on pushes to dev. Yeah, we're not going to be working directly on dev. We're going to be merging into dev. We're going to be working on feature branches here when we start in a few moments. Oh, we got to set up the dev branch actually too. We got to set up all of our branches before we start working. Okay, so create command implementations, create simple concrete command for basic actions such as update message. It's trying to make these all as like one thing. Let's just see what it looks like here. I don't know what a concrete command is. I've never heard that term. Okay. Anyways, that seems like it's like a basic like overview of what that should look like and work like. So I'm going to come back to that later on. Let's continue with this. CI/CD. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. So oh, wrong document. This one. Okay. So okay. So this all checks out. We want to have lint. I don't know. Do we need lint and prettier? Okay. And another question I have is, not question, but when we set up our local scripts, another one we only need locally is a script to format Markdown across the app, but it shouldn't block anything. Yeah, because I'm going to be doing a lot of these like Gemini Markdown files. And obviously I'm using the docs folder here to hold like a lot of sprint details and planning details. I do like to keep those things like neat and in order, but in the event that I get ahead of myself, I don't want that to block anything if they're like messy. But I will at least benefit from having the ability to do automatic linting. Excuse me. Automatic linting and fixing of things. So, okay, that's good. Okay, so cargo format. I don't know what this means. I think what this means is like on GitHub, we don't want to have to do the downloads every single time for cargo and node modules. So we want to have it cache them essentially. I'm not sure how that caching strategy works if there's like updates, but we want to make sure that it's cached so that we don't, unduly use up compute time or compute hours for running workflows. And having to go and download everything every single time, that's definitely going to use up a lot of time, especially if we're doing quick iterations or whatever. Let me just make sure that this aligns with what I think I understand. Excuse me. Okay. And we also, I guess we just need a way to invalidate our cache if necessary. So reduce build times. Okay, yeah. Okay. And how and when would caches be invalidated? Okay, so main branch, sure. Only pushes to main. Release goals and workflows to fully automate the release process. When the code is merged into main, workflow will build the application for all targeted platforms. Right now I'm going to be focusing on Mac OS. Actually, I'm going to have it do Mac OS and Linux. I'm not going to test Linux right now, but I have a Raspberry Pi that I'm going to test it on. I don't really, sorry to say this, but I don't really care about Windows or Android at the moment. If I get Linux working, I think Android would be fine. Windows, you're on your own. I know most of my customers, most designers, most comic artists are all pretty much using Mac OS. And yeah, I'm not going to worry about the Windows part too much. It shouldn't be too hard. It's not going to be that off. Oh, okay. So I can modify the caches in GitHub. Okay, cool. Okay, let's update so that the release targets are Mac OS and Linux. Okay, so automatically create GitHub release using the version number of the Tauri config file. Yes. The compiled application bundles will be automatically updated to the GitHub release as artifacts, making them available for download. Code signing, yes. Okay. The workflow will be designed with modularity in mind. Yes. All log entries will be written to a structured JSON. I think what I probably wanted to do is to take this sprint and to kind of reorganize it so that is a series of steps, because I need this logging stuff to happen as we go. I don't want to just save it for the end and go back and retrofit it. So let's have it. Let me do a commit first. I think this might be the last thing before we can start jumping into the scaffolding part for our application. Okay, so the current.md is great, but I need this to be reorganized. I want to achieve all these goals, but I want to make sure that the document itself has a set of ordered tasks to do from start to finish, integrating features and steps as we go. I think the big thing is that the logging needs to happen as we go instead of being left for the end. Can you think about this as a step-by-step process that I will follow as a tutorial, and along the way provide reasoning and explanations for what we are doing and why. Okay, so we're just gonna have it reorganize. I don't know what I just typed in there. It's probably a bunch of mumbled mess, but you know, AI is good at helping me figure my brain out. So I'm gonna give it a minute to do its thing. And how are y'all doing? I gotta put a question in here, I guess. I learned before that you can do these polls, so. Make a question in our poll here. Okay, I started a new poll. The poll question is, what is the best condiment? Okay. Oh, I know what my answer is going to be, but this is not about me. This is about you. So let me know, what's the best condiment? I just had a sandwich before I started streaming. That's why my brain is thinking about this. I'm thoroughly sandwiched up. Okay, I have reached my Gemini Pro quota, which is fine. I don't actually need Pro at this point. Let me just make sure it updated our document correctly. Oh. Being like slightly like neurotic and OCD is actually a great quality if you're developing an application on your own. I mean, it can be paralyzing as well. You got to work through it sometimes, but a big part of the issue with people vibe coding or using AI is like sloppiness or shallow thinking about what's needed. Just because something works on the surface or because a button works doesn't mean that you've built something good. Okay. I think we are good to go. Let me do one more commit. My dog has decided to. Y'all want to see my dog real quick? Hopefully he doesn't destroy everything. Let me bring him on to quickly say hi really quick. 1 second. Mr. Ogu, come here. Come here. Oh. Yes, good boy. Oh my goodness, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Oh, don't lick my mouth, bro. Now, come on. Ain't that for me? Hey, why are you so cute? Why are you so cute? Why are you such a little cutie pie? Why are you such a little cutie pie? Why are you such a little cutie pie? Oh my goodness, you're such a handsome boy. Everybody tell me so handsome. Tell me so handsome. Oh, okay, too close to the mouth. Okay, get down. Get down. Get down. Off. Get off me. Leave me alone. Okay. I don't like when dogs lick people in their mouth. That's nasty. But if that's what you like to do, I love that for you. If you like it, I love it for you. Okay, you're so cute. You're such a handsome boy. Oh. Yes, good boy. Yes, good job. You see how much my dog loves me? And I love him 20 times more. Such a good boy. Yes. You don't know where the camera is. The camera right here. Camera's right here. Okay, don't knock over my green screen. Don't knock over my green screen. Ow. You're such a heavy mouth breather. Okay, we're done. I think it's time for you to go. Now he's all jazzed up. Ogu, out. Good boy. Go to your spot. Out. Make sure you guys to the spot. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna let him go and take a little potty break really quick, and I'll be back in 10 minutes. So, and when we come back, I'm going to stop being afraid, and I'm going to get busy with actually doing some code. And it's going to be such a relief to actually see something on the screen after all this planning. And trust me, I did a ton of planning before we even got here, so you're not even seeing the half of it. I probably worked on the sprint and the scope documentation stuff and all that whatnot type of things. I don't know how to phrase that, but you know what I'm saying. I worked on all this stuff for probably like a good couple weeks. Well, more than that. I mean, really probably the past month or so, I've just been kind of here and there working on the new design and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to just jump in and actually make this thing. And I'm a planner, you know, perfectionist. OCD type planner personality, so all of this is just what I feel like I have to do, but it's going to benefit us once we get into things. So hold on, don't go too far, but if you go anywhere, make your way back to the pack. I'll be right here where I'm at, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Don't go too far. Peace. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Welcome back, Pack. And we are working on the Comic Panel app. And right now we're doing the project initialization. Just before the break, we wrapped up the last of our just very quick sprint planning for this initial set of work. And so we are ready to get back into actual development. And this time we can actually focus on creating the simple placeholder application. So we're going to go to our current.md, and this is where we have our step-by-step plan that we're going to follow, which is in the form of a checklist. And we can just go ahead and do one step at a time. I am going to allow Gemini to take the lead with this, and I'm not going to fully trust every single thing it does. Of course, I'm going to audit and watch all the little things it does. But since we put a lot of effort into thinking about our project and we have a lot of documentation to reference, that in addition to our standards, our project standards, which are held in our context Gemini MD files, that means that we can be fairly certain that we're not going to get off the mark too much if we give the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, to Gemini to start working and implementing these things here. So let's just see what happens. We're using the Flash model and we're using the free tier still. And I think we can go ahead and, oh, one last comment. When you work on developing a cohesive plan and also developing something like a sprint, whatever works for you, but something that says this is what I'm doing now and this is what the goal is. When you work on that kind of stuff, that means you can afford to use a simpler model, which also means that it's going to be cheaper for you to develop because you're going to have to do less backtracking in the long run. So all this planning stuff, I know that stuff's not appealing. It's not cool. For some people, it might even feel like a bit of a distraction from the main juice, but it is not time wasted. It is never time wasted. These are things that you would be doing in a team, professional, enterprise environment anyways. And although it's not going to be to the same degree of detail as in those environments, you still want to make sure you're doing these things when you're working on big projects by yourself, and especially when you're using AI or agents to help you code. These things are meant to help reduce conceptual drift. Also, it helps us with non-stationarity in general with AI. So I won't go into that so much right now, but in the future, I think that's going to be a topic worth discussing because non-stationarity is actually a very huge concept to understand when working with AI and also when working with people too. But I am procrastinating, so I'm going to go ahead and I always like to do a compress before I start doing a lot of work. And also I want to do memory refresh as well, just to make sure that my context is up to date. My context is getting a little large here, 36,000 characters. We're going to eventually go back and call that and everything later on, but for now, that's fine. Okay, so compression's done, cool. And I think we can get started with current.md. For this, I want to use this repo as actually, I'm trying to think, do I want to use this repo or do I want to make a subfolder for the Tauri application? Let me, let's see what Gemini thinks. Do you think I should initialize the Tauri app in the root directory of this repo or as a subfolder? I'm thinking that we should just do it as a subfolder since we already have a lot going on here. But doing it in the root level, I guess, is going to make it easier for the file paths and building configurations. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, do that. Okay, let's see what it does. Let's see if it can handle all that. All that. Let's see if it can do all that. If you're just joining us, we're working on the Comic Panel app. It is an application that helps comic artists make their layouts and set up the thumbnails and all that great stuff so that they can focus just on doing what they love to do, which is make great comics and drawing. Okay, so we can go ahead and have it create our application. It's going to be pointing to this directory, and we're using the SolidJS TypeScript template. And that's good. Oh, you know what? Let me, okay. What this was saying is, is that normally Tauri wants us to initialize. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Tauri wants us to initialize using an interactive terminal. So I'm actually going to just take this script here. And I did not mean to close my Gemini, so let me reopen that too. But let me go ahead and open up a terminal and another terminal actually. Let's just do it here. Let's just do it like that. Our package will be called Primatif Comics. Identifier, Primatif Comics.app, sure. No. And ooh, okay. Try to create the, you know what? I think I could probably do this in a subfolder and just like manually move over the files. But let me just make sure. I'm gonna try to do it my way and see what happens. Okay, so let's try that. Cool. I'm gonna. Ooh, excuse me. I think I might use Bun. I think I'm gonna use Bun. Let me make sure there's no steps I need to do to make Bun work though. I'm using my off-screen. You know what? I can always do that later on. I'm gonna use npm for now. But I think I do want to use Bun later on because Bun is actually much faster significantly faster, like almost 3 times faster. Okay, cool. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all these files here and I'm gonna delete this README. We don't need that one. I'm gonna take this get ignore and make sure that, okay, so we don't need this get ignore anymore. And all of this is cool. Okay, so we're gonna move all of these files. Oh, we don't need, oh, we can just move this extension to VS Code right there. So we can just delete that. Okay, so I think we can move all these other files into our root now. And now we are good. I manually did it. Thanks, though. Okay, so now I should be able to run this. npm run Tauri dev. I thought I already installed the Tauri toolkit. Let's see. Do I gotta do npm install? Yeah, I gotta do npm install. I don't know why I always get so nervous whenever I transition from planning to development. It's like, I don't know what it is about it. I think I've just been in too many situations where I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I started like blazingly fast moving towards building, and then I'm like, oh my God, I forgot something huge. I'm gonna regret this. I gotta update the license here as well. The license I'm using is not MIT. It is actually this other one. What's it called? Polyform Strict. This license is good if your goal is to make something that people can play around with and download, but you don't want them to change it or take it. Okay, so we updated that. Primatif Comics, cool. Let's add a description. I think we can run this now. I've never done this before. I've never used Tauri. This is literally my first time. But I started researching Tauri months and months and months ago. It's kind of like when you go on like Amazon or something, and you're just like, you're gonna buy something, but you're like, I don't know if I really want this. So like you like look at it and you like put it in your shopping cart, you put it back, and then you come back to your shopping cart and you're like, oh, you know what, I think I might get this. Let it sit there for a little bit longer, you compare, and then you finally buy it, and you're like, oh yeah, this actually is nice. I wish I would have got this a long time ago. That's pretty much my relationship with Tauri. Immediately when I started working on my application, I started to think, oh, okay, this is going to be really, really slow. If I have to use like TypeScript or JavaScript for everything, it's gonna be really, really slow. And if I use React for everything, it's gonna be really, really slow. And so, yeah, I just knew a long time ago that I needed to find, and I didn't want to go the Electron route. I tried Electron once a long time ago, did not like it. Immediately it was a no for me. And I have like React Native experience. I don't know, can you do React Native for desktop now? I don't know. I've never tried to do that part before. I've done React Native for mobile, and I've done React Native web, but I've never done it for desktop. It just didn't occur to me, honestly, as like an option. Yeah, it just didn't occur to me. I don't think it's going to give me any sort of benefits over what we're doing right now, honestly. Okay, so this is still building. This is really slow. Oh, there we go. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so this is the very beginnings of our application. So, yeah. Hey! Whoa, yeah. Look at that. So we have a desktop application, and it's very simple. I've been wanting to do desktop application development for a lengthy time. I don't know what kept me from doing it, other than, you know, obviously experience. But I didn't really have like a use case for making something that would be like inherently better on desktop versus like a web app. And everything nowadays is so like web dev centric. Okay, so yes, I think this is all good for now. So let's go ahead and do a commit. I got a bunch of stuff in here that I don't really need, but I'm gonna do a commit anyways. And we'll just commit it all as one big care package. We've been streaming for an hour and 38 minutes, plus the several songs that I streamed at the beginning. By the way, all that music at the beginning of the stream was original music that I created during the pandemic. This is part of my psychological maintenance or whatever. Yeah, so you'll be hearing it again. But we've been streaming for an hour and 39 minutes with all of that. We're going to be going for another 2 hours. That'll bring us to around, well, I'm going to get off at 6:30. So, yeah. So it's going to be about a little under 2 hours. It's going to be an hour and 45 minutes before I get off. So it's going to be a little bit of time. Okay, so that was our application. It is running. I don't know if there is like hot reloading or anything, but I think that's my next question is like, is there a hot reloading that I can use on my app as I develop it? And before I start getting carried away with like adding like features and stuff, I'm going to take a little bit of time to play around with SolidJS. I'm familiar with SolidJS as far as like skimming the website for it, but I don't have a lot of like background working knowledge in it. So I do need to make sure I kind of understand what's going on. Yes, hot reloading is supported for the front end development of Tauri applications. It works differently. For the front end and the back end. Front end, hot reloading. When you develop your front end with SolidJS, you're typically using a development server provided by your front end framework. Okay. Okay. Okay, so yeah, running it in dev mode is automatically going to restart both the front end and the back end, or it's going to hot reload the front end and it's going to restart the dev server. Okay, can we make sure the package.json scripts are updated accordingly? Okay. Front end dev, Tauri dev, Vite, okay. Yes, let's do that. Okay, cool. And then we can go ahead and stop the application, and we can do npm run dev. Or let me just take a quick detour. I'm gonna set up bun while we're here. Okay, walk me through setting up bun on my computer, and for this repo, I want to use it instead. So for this to work, I'm going to actually delete my package, my node modules here, and I'm going to delete my package lock, because the thing is, you do not want to have two package managers being responsible for your package stuff at the same time. Really, you don't want to have two tools doing the same thing in general. And so the package JSON, it's not likely it's going to cause an error, but I just want to make sure that package JSON the package lock doesn't exist, because I won't need it essentially. And I don't want to be using npm once I start moving to bun. I've been wanting to move to bun for a while, so this is a good time to just go ahead and do it. Yeah, so I already did that part, but we'll just let it do its thing. And then we'll install the node modules with bun now. Oh, okay, let's restart this terminal. Let me restart both of these actually. Okay, so now we have a bun lock instead. I'm saying get real bunny. Got the bun lock, and what else? Okay, and we need to go get some extensions apparently as well. So let's go ahead and knock that out. It has some recommended ones here, but I know I don't have some of these. So let's get Tauri. I don't even know if I'll need these. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Command palette. I don't really use the command palette. Oh, up here. This is the command palette. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and install that. That's cool. Sounds great to me. And then what else was it saying? Tauri VS Code, Rust. Okay, I think I already have Rust here. What's this, Code Runner? Oh, 36 million. I've never heard of this, but 34 million, 35 million, that's a lot. So I'm using Windsurf, and Windsurf has a different marketplace that it's actually using. So it doesn't have exactly the same, although I think I have mine pointing towards, yeah, mine's pointing towards VS Code. But by default it didn't, so I think that's fine. But I'm not really sure why Rust is deprecated. Yeah, I'm not sure why that one is deprecated, to be honest. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm not going to use this one, but I do want to have Rust up. I mean, that's not a bad idea. let's do the standard installation. Okay, and then it looks like the Rust VS Code plugin is deprecated. I spelled that all wrong. Deprecated. What should I use? Deprecated, not deprecate. Why is my head so big? Y'all wasn't gonna tell me? Let me fix that. Boom. Okay, okay, so let's see. The most crucial VS Code plugin is Rust Analyzer. I know that's not it. Let me check this. Marketplace. I might need to actually reset my okay. I wasn't prepared for this, but let me that's just what we're doing today. Okay, so let me update my Windsurf marketplace. Oh, is it this one? I'm not sure which one of these it is. Am I tripping? Y'all don't see this, do y'all? Because I don't see it. I don't know what this means. That's the one thing about using Windsurf is that some things just do not work. Windswept. Okay, let's just use Cascade. Okay. Let's start a new conversation. I'm gonna have it help me because it understands Windsurf better than Gemini does. Okay. For my WindSurf need to be able to install REST Analyzer, but it isn't showing up in the extensions marketplace. And I'm just going to copy all of this just for it to know. Let's go ahead and remove that from my git ignore. Here. Yeah, we can save our VS Code stuff to Git. I don't really care about the VS Code config stuff being in Git. This is what development looks like. Sometimes it's just boring. Things get really crazy when you start using VS Code, Gemini and Cascade at the same time. It's also very dangerous because you could be overlapping in terms of what you're changing. But sometimes I've done that. Oh my goodness. I'm looking at the survey. We got 1 vote. It says that relish is the best condiment. I don't know about that. I mean, you're still welcome to this party, but relish. Okay, relish do be good sometimes, low-key. But only on a hot dog. I can't think of any other situation where I want relish to be on the menu. Once you apply marketplace, automatically suggest installing Iris installer when you open Tauri. Okay, let me just reload this. But yeah, relish is, I don't know about that one. My favorite condiment is ketchup, but I feel like bacon is also a condiment. Bacon's a seasoning. I don't eat a whole lot of bacon, because I like animals and stuff, but you know. Yeah, this is like one of the things I dislike about working in WindSurf. I could very well just open up this project in VS Code and just mind my business and keep it pushing. I genuinely like using Cascade in VS Code or in WindSurf rather than VS Code. Verify. Let's make sure the settings were applied correctly. Can you open? Okay. Preferences. User settings, and I think it's down here. Well, y'all all in my business. Okay, so we got marketplace extension service URL. I think this is what I have, literally. pretty sure this is what I have. Okay. Okay. Let's try it. Yeah, let's try it. We're going to do a full restart. Oh, that's the wrong app. Oops, my bad. We're looking for this one here. I'm not exactly sure what this means. I've never had this issue before. But when I open the VSX registry, maybe I should just go back to I think I shouldn't have deleted it because it tried to do it. Okay, it's gonna fix that now. Okay. Let's just have it use VSX instead of the Visual Studio Gallery. A long time ago when I was doing, what was I doing? I think I was doing something with Golang or something, and I had changed it to not use OpenVSX. I can't remember exactly what it. Oh no, I was doing PHP. That's what it was. I was like doing some PHP development, and some extensions I needed were not available in VSX, so I had switched it over. And I guess now I am regretting it. So yeah, give me just a second to get this updated. Hopefully this resolves our issues. Well, I want my settings to use VSX by default when I look for extensions. Yeah, I don't want to have to do like all this like extra stuff outside of the UI, honestly, because I'm going to forget. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and restart Windsurf now. And see if that fixes our issue. I'm trying to get rusty. I don't know what this is doing. Stop playing with me. Okay. I think this might work. I'm seeing something here. So this is not the deprecated one. I think this is good. And I don't know if that includes the Rust analyzer, but we will go ahead and do that one. Okay, uninstall, restart extensions. Let me actually read this, I guess. Oh, Cascade just died. Let's just use Rust Analyzer. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my Gemini lifestyle. I feel like that's where I belong in the world. And we will have it, is this frozen? Okay. Oh, it's doing some stuff down here. Okay. Sure. Okay. Reload. So we'll just let it know that I have installed the recommended extensions, Tauri, Rustlang. Okay, I have installed Rust Analyzer and Tauri. Is that what I did earlier? Okay. Anything else? I already have all of the, oh, maybe SolidJS. I think that's what we need. I don't know about that. I am not a huge fan of things that are not used by people. Although, well, yeah, this hasn't been updated in a long time, so. We already have ESLint, I believe. Oh, we don't have it on this one, so we can do that. I have Prettier. I think Prettier's with this by default. Okay. Review the scope, document, and current.md to give a better response. Because we're not doing React. We got Tailwind. I'm pretty sure. Okay, cool. React Developer Tools. Okay. I mean, maybe. I am going to need to have a inspector, some type of inspector for my API stuff as well, since I don't have a browser to view things through. And I also need a debugger as well. I don't see React Developer Tools in here. That's fine. I'll just figure that out as I need to. Okay, so let's install cargo watch. Do you already have VI test in here? I don't. Okay. I probably could have just did that command for multiple things. It's fine though. I wasn't thinking. Okay. Cargo install, cargo deny. Where are these cargo things being listed in my project? I don't know. I used cargo and we need to make sure we have the tonal thing too. I used Rust like a year or two ago. So it's been a while. I think this is just installing these tools in my environment. Yeah, these are just local environment tools. If you're just joining us, we are working on a comic panel application. This is an app that's designed to help comic artists quickly set up their page layouts, including panels, frames, and eventually working towards doing other cool things like perspective grids and even some sketching and drawing. The idea of this application is that you can either design one or more pages, possibly a whole collection such as a comic book or an anthology, if you would so have it. There aren't a lot of apps out on the marketplace that do this sort of thing, and as someone who has a whole master's degree in comics, this is the perfect app for me. And yep, this is a part of my build in public strategy, I guess, I don't know, for my business. I just basically want to just show you all how I do things. This is a raw, live look at what it actually looks like to be a developer, and I use a hefty amount of AI because I'm down with the cool kids, apparently. So that's what we're doing. If you're just tuning in, thank you for stopping by. While you're here, don't forget to add a like, a comment, a follow, all of that stuff, whatever social media people say when you watch their videos, do those things over here, and then you can keep up with the latest streams and updates. I'm gonna be streaming probably like 3 times a week for the foreseeable future, and I would love to connect with you and hear your feedback. If you're interested as well, you can find me on GitHub. This is my GitHub page. I'm on GitHub under MaterDev. This is me here. And if you're interested in following the GitHub, the official GitHub for our channel, then you can follow that right here on the official github.com/primitive page. On the GitHub Primitive page, I have it set up where you can also see the latest streamed videos right here. And so as we do these streams, you're gonna easily be able to see like what's happening and what's going on. So give us a good old follow. You know what I'm saying? And while you're here, check out some of the repos and the projects that we're working on. The ones that are pinned up here are the main ones that I'm going to be working on as a part of the journey of this channel. So show us some love and stop on by. Yeah, I'd love to have you. Okay, so it installed that. We got a couple more here. I got to do SQLite CLI. So cargo install. Oops. Install SQLite CLI. I'm just going to copy this. And then we need to do an install for VI test as well. I'm going to treat testing as a first class citizen in this application. I've just made the mistake before of not doing that. And, you know, I always trick myself into thinking, I want to do tests, right? I'll do tests when I'm serious. You know, I always trick myself into thinking that that's going to be the thing I actually do. And then it usually turns out to be the case that I don't do that, or that I just never make it to that. And yeah, if you do testing, just go ahead and do it at the beginning. It doesn't have to be super deep. Do it if you like need a pattern so that you're not like wasting all your time doing testing. At least do testing around things that prove to be really buggy or complicated, or very fragile. And then as far as like coverage, having some simple coverage goal doesn't need to be 100%, but you know, like 80%, 90%, maybe even 70% is good. You just don't want to have like huge gaping areas where there's no testing, because you will regret it. You will absolutely regret it when your app grows. Okay, so we can do bun install, or I'm sorry, bun add the test. Vitest. Okay. Okay, cool. So we got cargo deny, cargo watch. Can you note somewhere that we added where that we have, or can you note, okay, actually what I'm going to do, so this is a pattern that I've always found helpful on my bigger projects. Whenever I make these sprints, I don't just use this as like a guide for what to do. I also will use this to set up like a working log or history of what I have done, because it's very common that although I have these steps laid out, I'm going to discover things along the way, and potentially I'm going to do things maybe different from what my plan has here, but I want to just have like some type of reality based notes and not just the ideological, you know, plan that I had sort of figured out. So I'll just say, please update the current.md to contain some notes for the initialization to describe what we actually did, as well as the tooling that we added, so that in the future it can be considered as we build forward. Also, do I need to do anything to make the, what's it called again? Cargo watch work, or is that taken care of by the dev mode of Tauri? I feel like that might be an overlapping thing, because I'm not going to be running Rust by itself. I'm not going to be running any part of the Rust app in isolation. So I'm just assuming that Tauri might actually be taking care of that for us, because it already has like the hot loading developer mode. Okay, so it's going to update our notes here. Okay. Okay, cool. So, it thinks we did all these things. I'm not sure we did all these things. Okay, so let's just see. Let's do a commit real quick too. That was a terrible commit message, but that's fine for now. And here shortly, we're going to switch to working on our feature branch. We're going to make a dev branch, and then we're going to work on a feature branch. Okay, so it seems like step 1 was checked off, but we need to verify this. And also make sure that it remains aligned with the scope. Sorry about my typing. I feel like I apologize for my typing. I'm not going to stop apologizing. I don't care about giving completely correct grammar or or typing to AI. It's literally a completion system, so it has the ability to sort of understand your typos and stuff. So I just have this theory that my typing is going to become worse the more that there is AI stuff, and I'm kind of okay with that. Okay, let me just, actually I'm okay with it being called Primatif Comics. Primatif Comics sounds a lot more inclusive of the features that I'm going to design. I mean, right now it's really about the panels and stuff, but in the future, wait, where is this at? This is in Tauri config. Primatif Comics. Let's update this. Oops, my bad. Primatif Comics, there we go. Primatifcomics.app. And we need setting for Mac. I actually don't know what that looks like. Let me let's see here. Format. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'm not going to be targeting Windows for now because I literally do not have a system to test my app on. And at some point in the future, maybe I'll just do that in a virtual machine or something, or have the tests running inside of a virtual machine with Selenium or something. I don't know, something like that. But for now, I'm just going to do what I can with what I have. I'm doing the best with what I got, in the words of Mariah Carey. And I think that will be fine for now. Oh, okay. So this is not Windows, Microsoft Windows. I thought this was like Microsoft. Okay, so that's for all kind of Windows, not just Microsoft Windows. They could have chose a better name for that. Okay, what are some... Okay, we don't need to worry about settings for the bundles because I don't want to do something that I don't even understand yet. So we'll just update that. So that's good. Let's go ahead and run our app again just to make sure everything is still functionalis, and then we'll take a break. So give me just 1 second to do this. So bun, what is it? Bun dev. The bun is in the oven. What's all these warnings? Does it want me to have start? Okay, okay. Let's try oh, that's weird. I changed the scripts here, so I probably broke it on accident. Okay, so there's a configuration here. When I try to run bun, it'll run the front end, and then it'll do the... Okay, this have hot reloading for the front and back. Okay. Bun run dev. That's probably the problem, is I didn't put the word run. Excuse me. Oh, it's using npm. It needs to use bun here. Okay, let me stop this and let me just do a quick search for npm in here. Okay, yeah, we need to make sure we update all of these here to let it know it's... I just don't want to have inconsistencies in my documentation. Let me have it do that first. So there are quite a few places where npm or pnpm is still mentioned. I am only going to use bun from here on out. Please update the README and project scope to replace with bun for my commands and package management. We also need to add bun debug. As well. I actually don't know what that file is call for button. It is likely similar. I'll check these in the git diff here in a second, so I don't need to look at those right now. I think I can add bun here. Okay. And let's go check that out real quick. Git ignore bun. Okay, that's the only place there. And that's the only place in there. And there we go. Okay, cool. I need a way to debug too. Since we're using Tauri and we won't have, well, technically we could actually run the app. Oh, excuse me. We could run the app in WebView or in our browser if we wanted to. Since it's just using Beat, we can still target that, or just open up the. We can still just open up the URL. But I want to have a debugger that I can use outside of the browser. Okay. And outside of this terminal down here, I'm not quite sure what the workflow is. Oh, okay. So we can inspect through. Let's just run it. Or bun run dev. After we get this running and we see that it's like not jacked up looking, well, even if it is, I'm gonna take a break and then come back. Just like a 10-minute break. I got about 45 minutes or so of coding left in me for this stream. So 45 minutes, an hour or so, something like that. Okay, so it says that we should be able to inspect elements here. Oh, okay, that's cool. I like that. Nice, 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 nice. And we have debugging here for the front end. And then, okay, so this is oh, I gotta double click. Okay. Okay. Not mad at it. Can this detach? I don't like that I have to double click to do stuff here. Oh, we can detach here. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. And let's make a good screenshot. Let me take a good screenshot real quick. Oh, you know what? Let me just fix one small thing on the stream. This has always been a weird thing that I've never fixed, but I'm gonna fix this real quick. I'm trying to figure out how to get my camera to be reversed because when I'm coding, I'm actually looking at a screen, and whenever I look at the screen, it looks like whenever I look at like the actual screen I'm on, it looks like I'm facing away from the camera. Versus when I'm looking at my other screen, which is like my main. I think this should work. Flipperoo. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I got it back. I got something weird here. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. My life. Okay. Transform horizontally. Horizontal. Flip horizontal. Okay. I think that is good now. Because I want to be able to take like a screenshot and appear like I'm actually looking at the thing instead of, so now my hand's over here. I can do this. This is the right side now. Cool. Okay, so give me just a second. This is like the awkward part about streaming. It's like when you want to like make sure you're getting your content or whatever. So this will make a beautiful little screenshot-aroo. Oh, let's get rid of some of this. And we do not want to screenshot our credentialize. Let's do this. Yeah. Oh, this is still saying PN. Let me, I feel like every time I'm like, I'm gonna like, you know, take a break, then I get like 5 more things I gotta do. Okay, so let's do this. Update. Read me scripts. Okay. Okay, so I think we got a good screenshot here now. And I should be able to look this way, like this. Wait, right here. I like to point. I like to do like this type of thing. Cool. I think that looks good. I'm not a model. Oh gosh. Let's try one more time. Oops. One more time. Okay, cool. We did it. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. I look like Pippi Longstockings. Okay, that'll be great for later. Okay, so we got our app running, and we have Bun. We have things set up. Look at all this stuff going on here. I'm gonna have to, you know, continue my learning journey with this, but for now, this looks good to me. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna end up just gutting all of this out. And I'm going to follow the guide that I have in my current sprint, but I'm going to be still thinking along the way. Luckily for us, we have accomplished part 1 of this, so it looks like our plan might be good enough to just keep going with. Version control. Okay, we did initial commit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to switch over to the development branch. Wait, what is this saying? Oh, I got to turn this off. Okay. Okay. So we're going to set that the upstream for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the development branch up until the end of this sprint, which would mean that I have the full pipeline set up for the basic release and CI/CD stuff, automations. And then after this sprint, I will be able to work on feature branches that introduce updates and in like a clean, isolated way. But at least for the time being, I do not need to worry about my my main branch as a working branch. We no longer will be doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna take a break here. If you have just joined us or are curious about what we're working on, I have this comic book panel application that I started working on in a stream a long, lengthy time ago. And I decided that I wanted to rebuild this application in a different stack because it was originally developed as a web application. And so I can show you actually a little bit of what it looks like here. Let's bring the screen back on here. So this is what the app looks like. And this was originally made as a React application with a Express backend, all done in TypeScript. And the database was done with Postgres. And I worked on this on the stream. I don't even know how long ago it was, honestly. Let's go look at the GitHub page. I think I actually have it on GitHub when I started working on this, or on YouTube. Let's go to our YouTube channel. With Postgres. Yep, that's the actual live stream. We don't need to watch that right now. Okay, so if I go to my playlist, it's in here, and it was in the boring stream. And let's see. This was a long time ago. Oh, maybe it wasn't in this one. I don't even remember, honestly. I don't remember when I worked on this. Maybe I didn't stream this. Well, anyways, the original repo was something I just came up with an idea for. And it was something I made really, really quickly after getting some encouragement to just dive deep into using the agentic approach to coding by one of my coaches. And I just decided that I wanted to continue the journey with that application because it's something that I personally will use. And as a comic book artist, and I know that there's a space for this type of app. And so if you're just joining us, the idea is that the comic panel app is going to allow comic book artists to quickly make layouts so they can get to the drawing part traditionally or digitally as quickly as possible. And then we're going to expand the features to go beyond just making the panel layouts and the collections of pages to include the ability to do like some rough sketches for thumbnails. Also compositing in some graphics like raster images that can be used as like little stickers to also help with compositions, and then also setting up basic perspective grids, all of which is going to just make it a lot easier for someone to get to the drawing part, which to me is the main fun part of making comics. So this is meant to be an app that helps digital and traditional comic artists. And then, you know, there's some other cool stuff I want to do. I won't get into that right now, but I will take a break. So I'll see you back over here. Don't go too far, but if you go anywhere, make sure you come on back to the pack. I'll be right here where you left me at. I got to work on that, but I'll see you in a bit. Give me 10 minutes.
primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your friend, Key. And if you're just tuning in, we are working on the comic panel app, Primatif Comics. And with this application, I am enabling comic creators to do what they do better, greater, with more fun, and most importantly, being able to get to the drawing, doodling, sketching, ideation, creative part faster. Okay, as someone who loves comics and someone who has made comics and someone who's studied comics, this is the kind of app that I wish that I had when I was a student and when I was, in the thick of it. And now I am on the other side of the formula as a software developer, and I get the chance to make the thing that I always wanted. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and we're going to just go ahead and continue with it. I only have actually like 20 minutes of stream left. I only allotted 3 hours today for myself to stream. So with that being said, I think that we need to just go ahead and consider what we have a checkpoint. And okay, so we have already set up the initial application. It was actually a much smoother process than I thought. Something that came up that I wasn't expecting is that there was some tooling that I needed to get. So we got that set up here. And we also have Bun instead of NPM, which I'm going to be using moving forward now anyways. It's much faster. Bun is like 3 times faster than NPM. And then this is my scope or my current sprint document that I'm using to keep track of what I'm doing. One thing I'm going to have it do is, let's run our format. Let's run our format script really quick too to make sure we get stuff formatted. Bun run format. Oops, format. Wait, hold on. Did I do something wrong? Oh, that's weird. Oh, prettier command not found. Okay, do we need to install prettier? Okay, sure. Oh, you know what? We can make this a dev dependency. I think. Yeah, we do a dev dependency. Okay, let's try that now. I should have just did it here, like that. Okay, so let's try to do it now. Okay. I think I want to install the Prettier tool globally. I've actually never been to the Prettier website. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, come. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. Hey. Hold on. Hey. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, come on now. I want to make sure that when Bun runs the Prettier formatter, it excludes anything that is in our git ignore. I think it was trying to run it against stuff in our node modules, which was leading to pure, unadulterated, unfiltered chaos. Oh, and I'm checking the survey, and y'all still like that relish. Okay, well, I'm not gonna judge. I asked the question and you just answered. My answer to my own survey, which I don't know if, can I supply an answer? It won't let me. My answer is that I think the best condiment is bacon, except for the fact that I am trying very hard to become vegetarian, and pigs are very smart. But my second choice is ketchup. Ketchup is, you know, don't judge me for being basically a child, as anyone who likes ketchup is, essentially. You know, yeah. Okay, so add a format script, pretty or bright. This tells pretty to format all files. Yeah, I don't want prettier to only do the docs. I want it to just do everything. I think, I don't know. I thought that's what I was doing. Button run, prettier, or button run format. A bun and a run. Okay, so I don't think we need this other one then. Okay, I think that's good. We got a bun and a run, and then we get done. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, so with that being said, we now have all of these changes, all these updates, which is good. MD, oh, so it's ignoring MD030. I noticed that Gemini by default wants to put like 4 spaces or something, or 1 space instead of 2 or something. Wait, let's see. How's that? Okay, we need to make sure that markdown went. Okay. Okay. So what's the difference between using prettier and lint? Do I need to run both? I know prettier is going to work across different types of files. Code formatter. Okay, so we need to do both, I guess. And I don't know why it made another key here. We'll just take this and put this right here like that. Okay. Bun, run, lint, MD, fix. And it's going to ignore the project scope because that document, I ain't trying to do all that right now. Okay, let's check our problems tab here. Why didn't it fix that? Yeah, so it looks like we're spending the remaining part of this stream trying to get this thing working. No, we need it to automatically. This is the most common issue I see with the code or with Markdown formatting when making files with Gemini CLI is it wants to do spacing differently than the linter. My context probably needs to be compressed here pretty soon. Okay, so automatic. Okay. Maybe we can fix it this time. I think the big thing is like since we're like in the setup phase, it's just naturally we are going to have like a lot of things that are not covered by our standards and stuff. So I'm going to give it some grace. We got to fix the trailing comma here. Sure. And oh, I guess it did fix that issue. Let's go ahead and reload the window. And we'll go ahead and I don't need to include the bun lock in my that's fine, we can include the bun lock here. It is going to be annoying. I have mixed feelings about whether or not to include lock files. I don't know. I mean, in a team environment, that's I guess where it starts to make a difference. But for this, it's fine how it is. Okay, so cool. Let's go ahead and memory refresh, and let's also compress our context as well. Give it a few minutes to do that. Thank you to all 52 of you who came by the stream today. Basically, you made my life heaven. It would have been heaven either way, because you know what I'm saying, like we just got good energy over here, but y'all helped make it into heaven plus heaven game mode plus extra with sprinkles on top. Y'all did that. That was all y'all. Thank you. I appreciate that. I received that. Okay, so with that being said, I think, oh, what is this complaint? Another trailing comma. Oh, these trailing commas are giving me, are just giving. They're not giving what they need to give, but they gave something. Okay, it's interesting that like it just doesn't break, but it's like this is bad. But like if you have a trailing comma in Vite or something, it's just gonna be like no thank you, no ma'am, no thanks, no thanks ma'am. Hardly. Nope. Okay, so I think we are good. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna have it review all of my commits that I did today, and I'm gonna have it create a log in my docs, in my change. So I have this change log. This is like a really handy. Well, let me go back. Let me go ahead and make this into like a little clip, a clipperoo. You know, that we can just use for some content in the future. Yeah, we can do that. Let's switch back to this. Hey y'all, this is your homeboy, your cousin Key, and I am the founder of Primatif. So thanks for tuning in. This is just like a quick tip. I'm going to show you a really useful way to help create some project memory, which is a great way to build context for your application when you're using AI to help you with development or other tasks on your local computer. So what you're looking at right now is the Windsurf IDE. This is essentially just VS Code, but the Windsurf version of it. However, the important thing here is that in this project, I have a log file. Now, no matter what you're working on, this approach is going to be an excellent way for you to keep track of what you're doing, but most importantly, have something that your AI agent or your AI tool can reference as it's helping you to build forward. So in this project, for this specific project, I'm actually inheriting some history because I've done a prototype of this same app and now I'm working on the finished version of it. But what you can see here is I have logs that I have created for every working session that I did with this application. And you can see here that this reads as a timeline, similar to how your Git history will read, but this is more meant to tell the story of what I developed in relationship to some type of project scope, document, or plan. And the reason why this is important is because when you come back to work on a new session, it's going to be really helpful for you to remember what you worked on in the previous one. And so what we're doing is we're enabling our AI chatbot or our agent to basically have like rolling memory of what it's been working on. Usually when you have commit messages, those commit messages can be very informative, and so can the Git diffs. But this is just a way to kind of just create like a project in progress thing. And so what I like to do is at the end of every working session for a project, I like to just go ahead and enter in a new entry into this log here, and it'll be like a summary of all the stuff that we worked on in a session, and including things that are not necessarily implicit or explicitly in the commit messages, but maybe came up during the conversations with my AI chatbot. So I'll just say there is a change, oops. So there's a change log file. We need to update it for what we did today. Please review our convo, the current MD, and also the Git history to compose a new entry. So this is getting into some like real good tea here. The other thing that I do aside from keeping a log is that I will also keep all of my social media posts in this repo as well, because I'll be able to dynamically build them based on the documentation and the sprint stuff and all that stuff. So then when it comes to making like quick posts on LinkedIn or whatever my communication channels are about what I've been working on and what I've done, I can do that directly referencing the actual project. So it makes it really easy to make status reports. This is a great approach, by the way, if you have actual stakeholders, or if you're working at a company where you need to check in the morning during your stand-ups. Don't do it the hard way, okay? Just keep, if you have the liberty, keep things in an organized way, and you'll be able to basically have communication content made just super quick. So it is going to, oh, it's trying, no. I wanted to just update the existing log file. Just update the existing log file. I don't quite have like a fully thought out solution here. Like there might be a different formatting that I might want to do with these. But for now, this is fine. So it says here, development environment setup, migrated project package, management to Bunt, updated documentation to reflect this change, and enhanced code quality tooling by integrating Prettier for general formatting, linting, discuss the role of formatter versus linter, addresses the resolved. Okay, so also note that the basic placeholder app is running correctly with the default stuff for SolidJS. This is the foundation we will build on as we continue to work towards the current sprint goals. Okay, so that's pretty much that. This doesn't need to be like fully exhaustive. The value in this changelog is that at the beginning of a work session, I can invoke some type of command and just say, hey, 1 second, get to the entry we just made. I can invoke a command or some type of prompt and say, hey, please go read the changelog, and then also go read the current sprint, and then also just look at the last few commits that we did to get a general understanding of what we last worked on and what we need to do next. That's kind of how I phrase that. Okay, so confirm the basic SolidJS placeholder application is running correctly, establish a solid foundation, and continue development. I think this is pretty much everything for now. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have it, I did a LinkedIn post for the last stream, which I kept here in the repo. I'm going to say, please review the last LinkedIn post I made for this the live stream that I do to build in public, and make a new post that very succinctly describes what we did today. The most recent one is the best formatted, but you can read the other LinkedIn posts to get an idea of what I've shared. Okay, so I'm going to have it just review the previous LinkedIn post here. Although this is the one I like the best. I hate when people do, okay, let me rephrase that in a less strong way. I strongly dislike when people have LinkedIn posts and there's like just crazy emojiology going on everywhere, and it's just like every emoji for everything. I love that for everyone else, but for myself, I want to stick to my brand, and I want my emoji usage to be tasteful, and also if I use emojis to reflect the brand. So I like to use let's just use the fire emoji instead of the green checks. And I'm actually going to go back and write this or make some edits like myself. But the whole point here, though, is that I don't have to be responsible for drafting every LinkedIn post that I make, which allows me to make them more often. And then I like to do this because when you're building a business or when you're working on a project or when you're doing something for someone else, communication is always just an important thing because you want to be able to not only do things, but show that you did them so other people can follow along. So let's say write this new LinkedIn post to a file and make sure the code block is txt. Okay, so yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm making these posts frequently because a huge part of, I think, being a developer now is just being able to effectively communicate what you're doing. So another productive build and public stream wrapped. Today we focused on solidifying our development environment for Tauri, SolidJS, and Rust desktop app. Key wins. We migrated our entire package management to Bun for a faster, more efficient workflow. Enhanced our code quality tooling with Prettier for consistent formatting and markdown lint for robust markdown linting, ensuring our documentation stays pristine. Confirmed our basic SolidJS placeholder app is running smoothly, setting a strong foundation for building out the core features of Comic Panel. Let's call this Primatif Comics. Okay, I mean, this is a little bit generic, but it's fine. One thing I'm gonna do later on in the future, probably like outside of this project, is I think it's really important to develop a specific voice and writing style for your projects and for your overall personal or business brand. And so having writing samples that capture the way that you actually speak and then using that to make content is not only gonna sound better, but it's actually going to be more authentic in general. I don't want to make posts that don't sound like me, but also it's cringy if you do. So I got my logs updated. That's good. I got a new LinkedIn post. And then all I do after this, if you go follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I just make a new post and I put the link to the stream, and then whoever wants to come ride the wave and join in on the fun can just click that link. And this is how I do it. I do it everything in here. So this is more than a mono repo. This repo is the actual code plus the documentation plus all the stuff that is for my own personal sprint process, all in one place, easy to use. And once you start doing it this way, it's really hard to go back, especially once you're working with AI. So I think I am about rambled out. I'm gonna be honest, I've talked a lot. Before I go here, I want to encourage you to go check out the website. It's primatif.com if you want to learn more about Primatif and what I'm doing and what my business is. I do a lot of things, but mostly right now I'm focusing on consulting and tutoring. So if you are learning how to code or you want to have a one-on-one session with me to learn about how I do things, I would love to do that with you. If you have a business that could use some improvements on your processes, or even a software engineer who's experienced across many different disciplines of software engineering, let me know. Don't be a stranger, okay? We are cousins at this point. So come on over to the Gravy Train and we can talk, we can chit chat. So without further ado, I'm gonna get off of this and leave you to mind your business, because I'm gonna go on my mind, okay? So thank you so much for coming by. I'm your host. My name is Key Clark. Thank you for tuning in to Primatif, and I will catch you on the next stream. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and most importantly, hit that bell notification so you can see when the next stream is. I will likely be getting on tomorrow, and I'll be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. But if you go ahead and subscribe, you don't have to remember all that. You can just see when I pop up on your subscriptions. Okay, so this is a Minnesota goodbye, by the way. In Minnesota, we are known to have the longest goodbyes because we get ready to leave and then we got something else to say, or we get ready to leave and we get drawn into another conversation, or we get ready to leave and something juicy comes up. But I'll let you go for real this time. Okay, thanks for coming by. Peace. If you're still watching, I love you. Peace. This is for anybody who's still here. It's the breakdown. I might have did something with this song. I might have did something with this one. Release that. Okay, I'm gonna get off here for real. Go, live your life. Get out the computer. Go eat an ice cream cone. Okay, bye.